I used to be someone that made a daily to-do list every day. I would time block my day exactly to the minute and specifically assign blocks to each task because I thought that would help me to get through my task list more easily and be more productive, but it didn't. Inevitably, there would always be something that got added into my day that I didn't expect. It's impossible to prepare for the unexpected when you leave absolutely no wiggle room. I also found that I would get so frustrated at the end of each day having to move stuff from my daily to-do list into my list for the next day. And overall, it made me feel really demotivated, especially sometimes I would be experiencing a lot of procrastination towards a given task, and then that would make me feel really bad about all of my work. I was constantly being reminded of all of the other things that I needed to do that, maybe I didn't need to do on that day, but that were just things I needed to do in general. And that made it really hard to focus on the work that I had assigned for that day. For several years now, I've been using a master task list and I implement that in Notion. The master task list is an idea I feel in a lot of different systems, but I particularly like the getting things done methodology, which I've talked about a number of times on this channel. I'm briefly going to explain the getting things done methodology and some of the key ideas, and then I'm going to show you how I implement that in Notion with my Notion template that will be linked down below. Specifically, you're going to see how I conduct a weekly review of updating my task list and my project list in Notion and organizing all of those tasks as well. The Getting Things Done system goes against the idea of daily to-do lists by encouraging the use of a master task list organized by context and potentially other forms of organization. One basic principle of the Getting Things Done system is that your head is for having ideas, not holding them. If we're constantly being reminded of all of the things that we need to do, then it's going to be really difficult to actually have the space in your mind to be creative and to work on interesting things. A weekly or even a daily brain dump can work really well for clearing your head of all of the things that might be on your mind. When I first found out about this system, I don't know when it was, it must have been 2021, I think. I did the brain dump because I was feeling really overwhelmed. It was like peak season of running the business and, trying to do my YouTube stuff and also do my PhD and everything else. And over 200 things came out on paper. Tens of other things came out over the next couple of days. But when I did that, I went for a walk afterwards and it was like the clearest my mind had felt in months because I was constantly under this serious amount of pressure trying to remember all of the things that I needed to do. Typically, I'll do a mini brain dump every single day, and then on a weekly basis, I will update my task on my project list, which you'll see me doing later on. A project in this system is essentially just any task that takes multiple steps. So if you are buying a gift for someone, that might be, a quick task. But if that involves other people or ordering something and going to pick it up, then that might be a multi-step task, which would make it a project. The next step of this system is to figure out what the next action of each of your items from your inbox is. Defining the next action of a task or something that's on your mind can really help if you're someone who struggles with task avoidance or procrastination. Most of the time, when we're procrastinating something, it's because there's some uncertainty about it. And we don't really know what it is that we need to do in order to move that into done. I found that when I'm experiencing that kind of procrastination, it's usually because I haven't actually figured out what the next step is. Most of the time, there is a step that needs to happen before you can actually do the thing that is there. And that's why you're having this kind of icky feeling of avoidance. You can then incorporate the 3Ds of this productivity system, which is do, delegate, or delete. Sometimes we'll, empty our mind. There'll be a bunch of things that comes out. And actually, when we look back over it, we're like, I'm not actually sure I want to do all these things. So some of those items on your list may end up getting deleted because you realize they're actually not that important and they don't really need to get done. Sometimes if you're working in a company, for example, you might have certain tasks that you can delegate to somebody else. And that's where the idea of delegation happens. We then organize our task list. And the first way we do that is by context. Context is like the specific type of work that the task needs. For example, an email task or a phone task or an at desk task or an agenda task where you actually need to speak to someone. Does it need to happen at home or in the office? Is it more of an errand? And by organizing by context, it means we can then look at our list only in the given context that we're in. There's no point when I'm at my desk trying to get through different types of work to be reminded of errands that I can't do at this moment. And same way, if I'm out and I can only really do work from my phone, then I don't need to be reminded of work that I can't actually make any action on. That will usually create a lot of stress, and that is not something that I need. The other benefit of working within these different contexts is that it avoids context switching, which can really reduce productivity. Context switching occurs when we move back and forth between different contexts. So if you're trying to write a report, for example, and you're going back and forth between answering emails or answering calls, you will lose a lot of time from just this switch that your brain needs to make when you're moving between these two different types of work. It's been shown that multitasking is not actually very, very productive at all. It's better to just focus on one type of context at a time, really focus on that, get those tasks done, and then move on to another one. The other ways that I like to organize my task list is by priority and by time. In priority, I tend to just go for high priority, medium priority, low priority. But I feel like you could do this a bunch of different ways. Some people like to give a specific value or just have like a priority or not a priority, or people like to go by urgency. Then I also organize by time. So if a task is a 2-minute task, these are ones I just try and get done ASAP. And I usually put them down as 5 minutes because I think that overestimation of time is helpful for keeping on track for when sometimes these tasks actually do take longer. Then I'll usually have some tasks that take somewhere between 5 to 30 minutes, and then tasks that take 30 minutes or more. And usually those are tasks that actually take more like an hour or 2 hours or sometimes longer. I can create this specific view on Notion where I look at just my quick tasks. And I usually spend about an hour a day or maybe 30 minutes a day going through this list to try and get through as many tasks as possible. I'll then also have a view where I can look at the high priority tasks. So once I've finished my quick tasks for the day, I'll move on to getting important work done. And if in my week I manage to get through all my high priority work and I manage to get through my quick tasks, I'll then move on to the remainder of the task list, which is typically not so urgent work that I'd like to get done at some point, but that at the moment is not a priority. And it might over time become a priority because it is something that is important, but at the moment it's not. In working with this system, the whole idea is that you want to have a system that you really trust so that your brain can stop bothering you. And because I've been using this system for quite a while now, I really trust that my work that I need to do and everything else is all in that task list. And I don't need to be reminded of those tasks because I know I'm going to engage with that task list on a regular basis. If you're not engaging with your task list on a regular basis, it's likely that you'll continue to have these recurring bombardments from your brain to remind you of things that you need to do. And it might take a while of slowly implementing this system before you really feel comfortable. I know it was like that a bit for me, but now that I'm at this position, I'm really glad that I chose to use this system, and I'm so happy with how I've implemented it in Notion. And I can't wait for you to see it now. Welcome to a behind the scenes of me updating my task management system here in Notion. This is something that I tend to do on a weekly basis. I have it part of my weekly review, but today I'm going to be showing you how I do this just on the home page. Because we're in December and we're getting ready for a period of rest, there's only really a couple weeks left of work, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to get done before the end of the year, essentially. It's Tuesday right now. I've got this week, I've got next week, and then I've got the week after. But the week after, I'm going to be at a conference. And then the weekend of that week is officially holiday time. So we've got 2 weekends and 3 sort of work weeks left, more or less. So it's all things that I want to get done in this time. I have already like a list of current projects and current tasks. Currently, I'm looking at the to process section. So this is where we'll pop in any new tasks that come to mind. Doing a little brain dump, first of all, for any tasks that are on my mind of things that I know I need to do. Most of the time, these will be like quick tasks that I might want to just get done today. When I'm keeping up with this system regularly, it's maybe 10 or so tasks a day that come out. But in times when I'm in great distress, it could be about 100 tasks or more that come out of my brain at any given point. I'm pretty happy that not too many have come out here, and most of these are going to be quick tasks. That's not to say these are all the tasks I need to do, because these are all the unprocessed tasks. That means is they're not properly sorted. So I haven't explained what the next action is. I haven't given them a priority, a context, or a time required, or a specific area or project that they're linked to. And I have just a note there that says, in many cases, it takes more time to process a task than do it. So oftentimes you're better off just doing it. So there are some here that I will probably just do and not actually fully process, because I know what I need to do. And I'll probably just spend a little bit of time doing the kind of quick actions for them. So anything here that I believe is going to be like a 5-minute task, I'm just going to mark that as such. This is probably a longer task. This is a task. And then I will, while we're here, just put in the context for each of these. So context for most of these is going to be emails. A lot of these actually, because they are based on the exams, will be an at desk task, because I'll need to be looking over different spreadsheets. Okay, so I've processed all my tasks there. I'm then going to process these projects that need processing. I'm going to move this back into to-do. I'm going to pause this project for the moment. So as I'm processing these projects that don't have any tasks remaining, that means I'm then going back and forth between the tasks that are required and editing those tasks. So then, now that we've got tasks that I want to, like, that are just top of mind, I'm going to add in like any other projects that I want to get done. So the first thing that I'll do is I'll go through any projects that I might have already made. And if they are now ones that I can make action towards, I'm going to move them from paused into the backlog. So those will move into my kind of current section. So I'm going to move any of those that I do want to make some progress on in the next couple weeks over there. So that can remain paused, that can remain paused. Paused. Great. And then if I need to process any of those, that will happen now. Okay, and then the other thing that I want to do is go through my current tasks and my current projects. So actually, before I do that, I'll need to just check my waiting for tasks as well. So these are still waiting for this can now go into not started. Okay, so those are all of those up to date. I'm going to go through my current projects and current task list just to see if there's anything that I can clear off this. Cleared this and I've done that, so that's great. These all need to be done still. I've done that. I don't think I've done any of these, so that's fine. Okay, so task list is up to date. Let's check in on project list. So you can see in total I have 9 tasks at the moment, so less than 50 tasks, not bad. And then currently got 30 projects. A lot of these are like policies and procedures, things that I'm trying to work on within the business. Let's move this into in progress. Nothing else here can be moved into in progress. But yes, it would be nice to get all of these projects completed before Christmas, in addition to all of these. And then I'm just going to check through. I made a a list when I was doing my journaling this morning if there was any other projects on this list that can be done. So winter declutter we have here. Christmas shopping is a new project, which is already going on. We can pop that in there. Cambridge conference, we have setting up the new company, we have management staffing, we have January contracts. I'm just going to rename this so that I know what it is. January contracts / staffing. Fine. And then update the trust fund. We have exams fulfillment, which is still ongoing. December showcases, January term information, that's enrollment info. 2025 reset videos. I suppose we've got more than just this one coming, but we can leave that as is for the moment. RADA and Lambda auditions, yes. And then getting the books to the office, vetting, first aid, all of those policies and procedures. So yes, this is all I want to get done before Christmas. 30 projects. There will be more tasks than this over time, but these are the ones for now. So what I'm going to do is, just to get really into the back end of this, I want to basically just take a little moment to go through each of these projects and add any tasks that are still remaining for these. So I'll check through each project and just check the tasks. And if there's any that I feel need to be added, then I will do that. So that one's okay. What I like about this new kind of setup in Notion is you have, when you go into your projects or whatever kind of version of a template, that you have the ability to now have these different blocks where you can see more than just the related items. So I've set this to include the item, the details about it. So the context, the amount of time needed, and the status. And it's useful if you're going into your project and you realize, oh, actually these tasks have been completed or these ones haven't been completed. And it's really useful. So you can just show these parts of the relation if you want to. And I find that really helpful. It just makes things so much clearer, especially when you're dealing with a project that has loads and loads of tasks and you're trying to work out what's left to do, what still needs to be done, or what has been done already. So I can see for this one, neither of these have been done yet. The other thing I'll have a quick look at is just if there's any additional projects or tasks that need to be added for any of my goals. We can take a look at projects that are completed versus not completed for each goal. And we can then look at any tasks that are remaining for each goal as well. So at the moment, I don't have any ability to track whether or not these are what status these are in. So I'm going to just add that in here so that I can take a quick look at that. So where do we have that? Show our completion level, and we'll also show status. Great. And then same thing for projects and tasks, things that we tasks that we have remaining. So we have record RADA video, we have record Lambda video somewhere. We have submit RADA application, submit Lambda application. And those are part of those two projects there. The other two projects have been completed. So I'll do that for each of my goals, but I don't envision having really anything else that I want to add here. If anything, the one thing that I would consider removing is I was hoping to get my company set up for the brand so that I could move over all my finances during this time. And that's the one thing remaining on this particular goal. If I don't get that done, I feel like I'm still going to mark this goal as achieved because I feel I've done a pretty good job. But the other goals, let's see, the outsourcing thing is an ongoing process. I still think I'll get a good bit of this done. I will get this done. I will get that done. So it's probably the first time ever that I'm on track to actually achieve my 12-week goals because of this system that I've developed for myself. I'm now going to just take a look at my task list. I've now got somewhere over 60 tasks on this to-do list, and not all of them will get done this week. So I don't consider a weekly or a daily to-do list, but there'll be certain ways that I try and kind of keep on top of things. Typically, quick tasks I like to do every day. So I have these different views here. You'll see that my to-do list is organized by context. So in each of these different examples, it's organized by context. By that, I mean it's organized by the type of work that it takes place in. The reason being, when we're switching between different contexts all the time, that can actually slow you down. So ideally, what I'll do is I'll sit down, I'll get through all of my email tasks, I'll get through all of my at desk tasks, all in a batch of tasks. And that avoids me having to open different tabs or do different things. It's like I can just bash through as many of these as possible. And that will reduce the amount of time that's needed for any of these tasks. So context will be how I organize all of these, but then I also have these other views that allow us to organize either by time required or by priority. That's why when you go into the processing situation, like when we're adding in a new task, you'll see that there's these different options to fill in those values because those are quite important for allowing these views to take place. The quick tasks will be any task that takes under 5 minutes. So at the moment, I've got around 30 tasks, maybe 25 or 30 tasks on the quick task list, which on average, these tasks, I'd say it'll take about 2.5 minutes. So that'll leave me with around 90 minutes to 2 hours of work. And generally, I'll do this every day. The first day of the week, it takes maybe 2 hours. Every day after that, it's somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes just to do those quick tasks. So that's what I will do today for the first little bit of time before lunch. And then in the afternoon, what I'll do is I'll start working through my important tasks. So these are things I try and do at the start of the week. A lot of these will have gotten cleaned up by my quick tasks. But then there'll be other slightly longer tasks that I'll have a look at trying to complete in the earlier stages of the week. So maybe I'll get this, video recorded. We'll see how far I get. There's not too many longer important tasks that I need to do. So my presentation slides will be something else that will be like pretty big priorities. And then contracts and projections, like financial stuff for this week will be also quite important. And then after that, we move on to the rest of the to-do list. The rest of the to-do list is like, when you have the time and the energy, let's get to these things. So anything that's like low or medium priority, like realistically, I'm not going to cry over not getting these things done this week. I'd like to get them done before Christmas, but it's not the end of the world if I don't get those things done. That's it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you want to get your hands on my template, it is linked somewhere here. And if you want to see the full deep dive of what this template looks like, then check out this video that I'll have linked on the screen for you. See ya.